What up, though? It's DJ Rell Life, aka Rell Gibson, aka the man with the plan, and I'm coming up again with my little list. This is my list for the best albums, best hip hop albums of 2010. I see BET has their list, and I see all these different websites. They have their list, and I don't like it. So again, I'm coming up with my own little list, and my list is not going to be your typical um Billboard list, the the list where who has the most radio plays or who has the most sales. I don't go by that. I go by who makes hot albums. Um, and some of these people you may never heard of. Some people you definitely have heard of before, and some you may not have heard of before. But it's just something to open your mind to listen to different things, and instead of just going by what everybody else goes by. And so this is what I come up with. Um, the last two albums that I list are to me going to be the top two albums of 2010. So I'm gonna start off with this particular artist out of Cleveland. His second album, Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2. I thought it was pretty solid album. Now he's not much of a lyricist at all, but uh, the way he puts his emotions on the track and the melody when he does his hooks are amazing. Kind of cuckoo, but if you can relate to the music, it's really dope. Um, the next album that came out 2010, Reflection Eternal, uh, Revelations per Minute. If you don't know who that is, that's High Tech and Talib Kweli. Um, Came out with another album. This album was dope. Very underrated. Didn't get a lot of promotion for whatever reason. Um, just hot records. Probably had one of the best records of the year that had Jay Electronica and J Cole and Most Def on one track. But the album definitely was slept on. Another great album of this year. There was a lot of good music this year, actually. A lot of people complain about um, hip hop is dead, which it somewhat is, but a lot of this year has been one of the better years for hip hop in quite some time. Another album that was pretty dope, surprisingly, because the last 5 years he hasn't really put out any good music. Was Fat Joe, The Dark Side Volume One. This album was like vintage Fat Joe, Flo Joe back in the day. Um, Beats was banging. Yeah, beats by Cool and Dre and DJ Premier, and his lyrics were just on point. He wasn't just bragging about money and being in Miami. Like he went back to the Bronx on this album, and it was a pretty dope album. Like I said, probably his best albums, one of his best albums he's done like in 5 years. And it was definitely dope. It had a camera on, had the clips, a couple of guest appearances, but it was a lyrically he took it back to how he got here. Took it back from the basics. So really dope album, Fat Joe. Hats off. Another album that was pretty dope, different. B.O.B. The Adventures of Bobby Ray. Um, a lot of people will say that he's pop because of the two singles that he put out, Nothing But You and Airplanes. It was such a big, success, mainstream wise. But um, he's an artist that can do multiple things. He could rhyme, he could sing, he plays various instruments, and people say he's pop. I mean, he is hip hop, but he just had singles that crossed over. Um, my next segment actually is going to talk about his mixtape um, that came out this year, but this album was really dope. Had features from Tip, of course. Eminem was the Airplanes Part Two, which was probably one of the best songs of the year. Um, he just had an incredible album. It was like a breath of fresh air. It was something different instead of your usual D boy. I'm a drug lord. I got all the hoes. Blah blah blah. It was just a real feel good album. Next album, Eminem. Recovery. Um, the reason I say this was a dope album, not because he was a top seller as far as hip hop. That has nothing to do with why I rate this album was good. Because Relapse's previous album was trash. It was whack, just straight up whack. And this one, it was just a dope album. I mean, I think Dr. Dre only did one record. Um, but not even talking about the Rihanna record. It was okay, but it was a little popish to me. The track with Lil Wayne, No Love, was a banger. The first single, Not Afraid, was a banger. Other songs on here were just dope, and just his lyrical. He just got back on his job on his album. Even the iTunes song with Slaughterhouse was just sick. It was just sick. So he definitely came back on point with this album. Another album, Lloyd Banks, Hunger for More too. Um, the first album could be considered a classic. His second album, The Rotten Apple, was just trash. It was just trash. This album, he got a buzz from Beamer Benson Bentley, and he carried the buzz along. And 50's only on one song, and he just doing a hook. And he was able to collaborate with other people like Raekwon, Styles P, the starter up joint with Kanye and Fab, um, and Swiss Beats, which is sick. And the album just is good. It's a really dope album. Um, Glad to see he back how he was, and working with other people instead of being on that beef crap, which is kind of played out to me. Another dope album. Another, I ain't gonna say another surprise, but I thought I never, you know, would dig this dude's album. The last three actually has been good. It's Rick Ross, Teflon Don. Um, everybody wants to judge his character as far as the CEO thing, and that's most of the rappers anyway. 95% of them are liars, but you can't deny dope music. And his thing was always, he always had dope beats on albums. He always chose really good tracks, and it continues. But from every album, he's got better lyrically. Um, this album with the BMF record, with the MC Hammer record, even Maybach Music, I believe three. Um, it's just dope. It's a dope album, and like I said, lyrically, and from Port of Miami, which was not good at all, to Teflon Don, lyrically, he's gotten better, and you just can't deny good music. Period. Regardless of where you're from, who you are, or who you affiliated with, or the sales. Teflon Don was one of the better albums of the year. Um, okay, next album. This guy actually had, to me, the best album of 2009. A lot of people probably a lot of you guys probably never heard of him because you guys probably are stuck on 106 in Park, or you just listen to what's playing on the radio. But this artist's name is Skyzoo, out of Brooklyn, New York, and he did a collaboration album with a producer named Illmind, who has worked with Redman, Little Brother, so on and so forth. Um, and they made a album together called Live at the Tape Deck, and this is just vintage hip hop. One MC, one producer, such as a lot of younger kids probably never heard of these people, but look it up. Pete Rock, CL Smooth, Gangstar, um, just even DJ Jazzy Jeff and the French Prince. They just kind of kept the formula of one MC and one producer to do an entire album, and it's just classic '90s hip hop. Um, he even has collaborations with Ron Fest, Styles P, and it's just and Helter Skelter from Duck Down. It's just a dope album, like from top to bottom. This guy, I don't understand. He just very underrated and one of the best in the game right now, hands down. Like you probably like, who is this guy? Again, his name is Skyzoo, Skyzoo. Just YouTube him, whatever you have to do. Um, get out of that little box you guys in. It's so much good music out there. People say it's not good music. It is. You gotta look for it. It's not gonna fall in your lap. You're not gonna just find it on 106 and Park. You're not gonna find it on your local radio station. You gotta search just like anything else, whether it's a job or a female or anything else. You have to look for it. It's not gonna fall in your lap. Okay, and the next album that was dope this year, very underrated. Don't know why. Freeway from Rockefeller from State Property. He this is working on his third album. He also did a collaboration album with a producer. Um, I mean, if you're into hip hop, if you're into producing, like you probably heard of him, you probably haven't. He's a popular dude. His name is Jake One. He's a white producer. He worked with Freeway, Young Buck, Ti, just to name a few. But an album was called Stimulus Package, and it's a really dope album. Really dope. Freeway also from every album has gotten better lyrically since he kind of calmed down. He's not as wild as he was when he first came out, but that album, the lyrics are dope, the storytelling, the beats are dope, And like I said, with the Sky Zoo and the Ill Mind, it's dope to see artists. We have one artist and one producer working on an entire album, and it's a dope album. He has Beanie Siegel on the album. He has Baby from Cash Money, just to name a few. Raekwon the Chef. It was also another underrated album. Again, it's not your Billboard 100 top 40, 3 million records sold. I'm on BET every 5 second on album, but it's a dope album. And again, you can't knock good music. These last two, I'm gonna end it off with these two. I'm not sure who to vote as far as the album of the year. I mean, I really love both of these albums. Um, and this next album, I don't know. I want to go with a tie, but whatever. I really love both of these albums. The Roots, How I Got Over. Another great album by these guys. Black Thought, I think, is one of the most underrated MCs that's out there. He constantly, every album since the Roots been out has been, just lyrically just been putting out good albums. And this album is good as well. There's another album that Def Jam dropped the ball on. And again, not that I'm a big Grammys fan, but they are nominated for best rap album of the year with this album, How I Got Over. And the music is just dope. They go from topics, talking about God, depression, your everyday working person, to love. It's just a very balanced album, and that has features from John Legend, Fontaine from Little Brother, Petey Crack from State Property Camp. And it's just a dope album. Lyrically, of course, beat wise, it's just a dope album. And again, the Roots did it again. It's just bad that Def Jam again dropped the ball, because they're not the label they used to be. And my last album for 2010, I had the pleasure of seeing these guys back in, I believe, in July, at BB King's in Orlando, seeing these guys perform. And hold on one second, let me get it right quick. Hold on. Yo, I hope you see that. This is my top album for 2010. This is Nas and Damian Marley, Distant Relatives. I know people who know me will probably say I'm being biased because I'm a big Nas fan, but um, it's just it's really good album. It's a worldly album. Um, I was a little skeptical at first because they did one song together on Damian Marley's album on Welcome to Jam Rock, and the song was dope. But I wondered, like, an entire album, how would that turn out? And it just blew me away from listening to it. Um, it's not a Nas album, it's not a Damian Marley album. It's just both of their albums together, and And it's like again, it's not a rap album. Just an all the way rap album. It's not an all the way reggae album. You have two great artists, you know, gelling, putting the ideas together on the album, and the music is just great. I mean, both of them they talk about topics of God. They talk about the generation. They talk about relationships, friends. It's just a really deep and a great album that you can listen to all the way through. And it has a couple of features, Josh Stone, and even have you guys' favorite rapper, Lil Wayne, who I'm really not a big fan of, but he really blessed the song. Gave it a hot 16, and it blended in perfectly. Um, I also have the artist K9, probably never heard of. Real hip hop heads probably have out of Africa, but and Damian Marley. I think other than one track, his brother Steven probably did one song. Pretty much did the entire album. So the album is another album that again Def Jam dropped the ball on, but the album is just dope. Like lyrically, Nas is always top notch, and even Damian Marley um, does his thing on this album. I think if you're not a fan of either one, you will be after you listen to this album. Like I'm not much of a reggae fan, but I do like the Marley's work. I really love Damian Marley's work on this album because he just goes out his normal comfort zone as well as Nas does, and just makes, like I said, real worldly positive music. It's a really dope album. So those are my top albums of 2010. Um, if I missed some, hey, I'd like to hear what you guys think. Tell me what you think. Agree or disagree. What you think is your top albums of 2010. And you're gonna see me back again because also want to do the most disappointed albums of this year. There's a couple of them I expected to be better than what they were, but they sucked. So again, this is my list 2010, and that's it. We'll see what 2011 um comes about. With J. Cole and Saigon and I believe another Nas album, and also Kanye and Jay-Z album together. So we're gonna see um how does 2011 come about. And also I'm also do top mixtape album mixtapes of 2010. So it's DJ Rell Life signing off, and happy holidays to y'all and happy new year. One.